Welcome to Unsuck Your Sales. Hello, Brittany Young here. Today, I am so excited to be sharing with you all a client story about how exactly she went from one area in her life, which was working behind the scenes about 40, 60, somewhere around there, hours, working under her father's financial firm, to being miserable, anxious, not really knowing how to get out of that cycle, to now creating her own firm. And within a year, the firm has grossed $100 million in revenue. She's bringing in 100K months. She has a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old. How is she doing this? And I want to break this all down for you so you know exactly how to do it for yourself. So let me share the story. All right, I'm going to bring my mic a little bit closer. Before I get into all of this, I want to let you guys know some of the exciting things, there we go, that's going on in the world of Young Wealth, which is my company name, if you had no idea. So within the world of Young Wealth, we are launching the Unsuck Your Sales series podcast. Yes, my friends, that is coming out in about a month. Our first episode will launch on September 6th. Super pumped. If you are an entrepreneur or a business owner that is looking to get onto a podcast and talk real, raw, authentic truth while also talking about your own sales journey, this is going to be the podcast show for you. I want you to hop on. I want you to be a guest on this show. So if you're watching this live or the replay, hashtag guest, and we'll get you onto an episode, talk about, how you got from point A to point B along in your sales career, sales journey. By the way, we're all salespeople, whether we like it or not. I have to literally sell brushing my child's teeth to her every single night. Sales has always been my passion. It's always been my career. And so I'm here to talk about it. And I'm here to talk about kind of the naked, ugly truth behind the scenes of what it looks like to actually suck when it comes to selling, and then how to actually unsuck your personal sales. So we're going to have some really incredible guests. I already have the lineup for the first couple episodes. So if you want to be part of that, let me know. Second thing, we have the mastermind dropping next week. The welcome call starts on the 15th. We're official on the 22nd. It's open enrollment. So you are welcome to come into the Sell Your Way Mastermind at any time. Part of that, you'll get one-to-ones with me, as well as the recorded trainings that you may have missed. And this is a mastermind style type group. This is not a group program. Totally different energy, totally different vibe. We're here to support one another. We're going to dive into what it looks like of how to get out of the struggle that you're currently in. And we're looking at, when I'm out of that struggle, what kind of action do I take next? What's the decisions that I need to do in order to get there? We're going to be working on 3 main things. What are you tired of? What have you thought of? What have you considered? And really allowing yourself to be open to feedback and constructive criticism. This is all about problem solving within your sales process, within your sales language, so you can start converting even more of those sales calls and potentially doubling your conversion rate. That is what I'm here to help you do. Raise your prices, raise your authority. Same thing. And then one-to-one is always open for the taking. I have some spots actually available for the month of September. Sales calls are filling up. So if you want to hop on my calendar, please do so now. I can send you the link personally if you're open to that, or if you go through some of the last couple of trainings, you will also find the link there too. Now, let's get rolling into how my client actually is doing the thing. How is she making these 100K months while working, full time, 20 hours full time, and running a household in home, time for dinner, doing the things, running this financial firm. And the answer really to all of this is permission. So when we first started, like I said in the beginning, she was working for daddy, pretty miserable, not really happy, not really understanding where do I go from here. And the energy at the firm was anxiety provoking. It was very client chasing rather than client focused. There were, weekends that she was finding herself working. And so that time that she wanted to spend with her kids was taken away by clients. So, we started working together. And one of the biggest things that we started to work on was shifting out of the story that I can't have what I want. I'm not going to be as successful as I am today working for Daddy Dearest. And I also don't know what it looks like to give myself permission to play. Hi, Dorothy, to give myself permission to kind of play in this arena of what does it look like for me to run my own firm. So we started there. Now, part of the permission process is really taking a look at what are these emotional stories, emotional baggage, if you will, that we're holding on to. So can you look at your emotional baggage as a story? What's going on behind the scenes and what emotion is attached to that story? And I'm going to talk about how that relates to sales in a little bit. The other part of the story was there's no way I can make money while I have these two children at home, right? She was stuck at 20K months. There's no way that I can make more money. I have these babies at home and it's just not possible. So that was another limiting belief and story that kept coming up of like, how do you do this? And we first started looking at, okay, let's kind of look at what would it take for you to leave and start your own thing. And we started playing in that space. And of course, the limiting beliefs kept coming up of I'm not good enough. I'm not going to make this successful. This is not going to be fun. I'm afraid to tell my dad that this is what I want to do, right? All of these stories kept playing a part. So part of the permission process is giving yourself permission to feel through your emotional journey, which sometimes it's really hard to do when you're such a logical person that gets caught up in, well, I should have a step-by-step process and I should have already figured this out by now. Like, what is going on, when in reality, there's some sort of fear or overwhelm, emotional capacity to it all that's holding you back from getting what you want. And we tie our limiting beliefs or our belief systems, our pre-programming to that emotion. And that's exactly what was happening. So the permission process, step one, is really diving into the emotional piece. Okay. And we did that. And this is a practice. This is not something that, I personally have mastered. My client has not personally mastered. We're still working through this. It is a constant journey to be on the emotional up and down, no matter if you're running a business or even if you're working for someone else and helping them run their business. I don't think it ever stops. And it takes work every single day. one of the things that I love doing is when I get into my office, really focusing on grounding not only my feet to the floor, but grounding into the emotion of, I've got this. I feel excited. I can expect things to happen, to shift. And so that's what I had to teach her. We put together this plan, an exit strategy plan of leaving the firm within a couple of months. It was around, I think, 8 months to be exact. And we put a business plan together. And, the emotions, of course, were still there, which is all well and good. And as we're working through these emotional pieces, we put together this business strategy to show that she had enough income coming in residually. She would have a number of clients that would leave the business to follow her, if not in a couple of years. And she could actually make this leap. She could hire a team, and the possibility of having other women join her to create this firm, get it off the ground, and make something magical here was also in the area of solution. Okay. So we played with this, and we played with, what does it look like? What does it feel like? Is it safe to do this? Can you trust yourself to make this leap? Can you have that hard conversation with your dad and your brother? And can you get behind telling your spouse, this is a big one, telling your spouse that this is what you're going to do when you already have secure income coming in? Once that conversation happened, and then the conversation with dad happened, her income jumped from 20K months to 50. Okay, so that was in the span of those 8 months where income literally doubled, and it kept increasing. And at one point she got a bonus check around $150,000 in 1 month. So it was absolutely incredible. She needed to face those emotions and face those fears that were coming up around the insecurity, around the overwhelm. And step 2 of their permission process was regulating one's own emotions. So instead of being an emotional basket case, if we weren't working together, that's maybe how she would have shown up in these conversations, when really we shifted the beliefs. I'm skipping my words here. Shift the beliefs to, I've got this. I know exactly what the plan is going to be. I can bring it back to my logical brain and show these men, who are also logical, that I can do this, and here are the numbers. Here's what it's going to look like. I feel good. I'm off to the races. Let's do this damn thing. So in the regulation piece of, it's not about avoiding the emotion or setting it on the back burner, but because she was confident to step into the conversation, that allowed for that income to shift. It allowed for easy conversations between her and her spouse, her and her father, and then off to the game that we were going to play anyway, which was starting the firm. Okay. So the firm starts at the beginning of, no joke, you guys, the beginning of this year. Okay. Beginning of this year. And she was already bringing in these 50K months consistently. And it was residual income. It was income from working at the firm prior, and then her own clients. And these multi-million-dollar clients were coming in, which was like super cool. Why? Because she was an emotional match. You'll have a lot of coaches say to you, oh, it was an energetic match. Okay, if you believe in that sort of thing. But for me, really, it's an emotional match because she was at the top of her game in the confidence arena. She also had a business plan that was already going to be put in full effect that we created behind the scenes. And it allowed for her to then fully step into, I'm doing this no matter what. And that confidence just started creating momentum within the business and really allowed other women to see what she was up to. And they said, I want to be a part of this. I want to join your team. How do I get to, my own 50K months? How do I become a financial advisor planner as part of your work? I want in on this. And here we are, August, that was back in January. The firm itself is sitting at 100 million. The ladies, there's about 8 of them now, 8 advisors and planners underneath the firm. She also created a multimedia wing under the firm, which is not something that other firms are out there doing. So this is how she's standing out. And she created a very boutique business to which she only works with high net worth clients. Sure, she'll bring in some clients, that need help, right? But these high net worth clients are showing up, knocking on the door saying, I love this model. I want to be part of this. This is fantastic. And what I mean by high net worth is people that are, netting over $1 million. So she's had clients that are making 10 million, 15, 20, 50, showing up at the door and saying, please take my money. I want you to be my advisor. I also, by the way, love what you're doing on the multimedia side. So friends, it's as much an emotional game as it is business strategy. Sales are emotional. Business is emotional, right? If you're going to unsuck your sales, which is, by the way, sales is the foundation. Okay. It's not the end game. Sure, closing a deal feels like the end game. But if you don't have a solid sales process at the very beginning of you starting a company, you ain't making no money. Simple as that. You can have all the marketing, all the media, and this is exactly what I was telling the client, you can have all this media going on, but if you're not selling, these spots into the media, then what good is it? If you're not bringing in clients that are high net worth, what's the point? You're bringing on these other advisors. Sure, you're going to make something off of them, but what is the point? So we created this business plan, this sales plan, to be the front end of the work rather than the last step. And honestly, it became this ironclad process that she started with and closed with. So she started with it and now she's closing deals with it. And now income is sitting roughly around that 100K mark for the firm. Like, how cool is that? She got time back. She's taking Fridays off. She's getting speaking engagements. She is starting a collaboration book, which I got asked to be part of, which is super cool. Your emotions, honestly, your emotional body, how you're feeling, directly impacts your sales. I can't stress it enough, and this is the hill that I will die on. Your conversations are being affected by how you feel. Okay. Now, I know you see me come on these trainings and do a lot around sales strategy and sales language and sales questions, but this is also the other side, behind the closed door side, the emotional side, that usually doesn't get talked about. Okay. Because some people see it as, airy-fairy, if you will. And really, if your emotions aren't in check, you ain't selling. Okay. That's the hill that I will die on. Because when you get on a sales conversation, it is not about you bringing your emotions to the sales call. Sure, it's about empathizing and literally seeing where that other person might be stuck, especially when it comes to their emotions. but we don't lead with our fear, our overwhelm, our nervousness when we're getting on a call. And really, your calls are about being in a conversation rather than trying to get somebody to buy something on the other end. If that's happening, if you're trying to sell on a sales call, you have lost the sale. Okay. That is like, I can't stress that enough. If you're getting on sales calls and you're like, buy my shit, doesn't work that way. I'm leaving. I've been on those sales calls where people are like, you want this or not? And I'm like, no, bye. Thanks, bro, but I'm out. We're getting on sales calls not only to close the conversation, but to have a conversation. And we want to leave people feeling better than where we met them on the call. So all of this matters because honestly, we don't want people buying from us off of bad emotions. We also don't want people buying from us if they're picking up on our fear and insecurity. Logical reasoning when you're buying is really important to stress. Okay. You can always bring people back to what's the reason? Why are you here? That's very logical, right? Finding out from them what it is that they want. Okay. So what I did with said client is created this business plan, a sales plan around permission-based questions. Okay. This allowed not only for her to feel like she could trust her process, but it allowed for her clients to trust her even more, let their guard down, feel comfortable making decisions with her because she was detached from the outcome, detached from the sale. And we did all of that emotional work so that these high net worth clients could start coming in. Now, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, I want to hear from you. Does this make sense? Are you feeling it? Right? Because to me, we want to help our ideal clients understand what's keeping them from what they want versus forcing them into an emotional situation that doesn't feel good to them at all. And that's a sleazy tactic, right? So if you're out there with your sales process and you're like, oh, this is all really logical, and I don't know how to shift this piece. I don't know how to, get into my emotions, get into my feelings, if you will, my self. I don't really know how to connect self with sales. What's going to happen is your clients are less likely to refer you to other clients. They're not going to see you as a leader. And now you're really not seen as someone that's trusted because they can feel that energy leak or that emotional leak in this case. So, what I did with said client, and this is really key here, is we started off asking clients closed-ended questions. Most people would tell you start with open-ended questions. Open-ended questions being like, how's life and business treating you? And then that person's going to give you their whole life story. And that can create a huge gap that you don't want. It can also create confusion in the action steps that you're going to take with said client. So if we kind of line it up a little bit differently, and maybe you start with an open-ended question like, hey, how's sales going? And then your second follow-up would be something like, so are you closing anywhere from 1 to 5 sales a week? And this is in my case, and they're saying, no, I'm not, or yeah, I actually am. So, you're kind of getting into the weeds with said person, but you're really trying to figure out, where is this gap? How can I get them from where they're at to where they want to go? So in the financial advisory world, or even the bookkeeping world, the CPA world, it's like, hey, how's your finances? How are your finances going? Where are you right now when it comes to investing? What are you investing in? Which vehicles are you investing in? Have you currently purchased a life insurance policy? And if so, how much is it? Or, how's your bookkeeping going? Are you DIYing your bookkeeping, or do you have a bookkeeper right now? What's your process? Have you filed your taxes in 2022? And if not, why the fuck not? Like, very simple conversational questions that we implemented into her very logical process. And it allowed for the flow of the emotions, which then increased the amount of clients referring her, because that emotional connection started to brew. Does this make sense? Okay. Sometimes I get on a tangent and people go, yeah, like, come back full circle, please. I haven't slept in 2 nights. My toddler has been up, so I'm a little off the rails myself today. I apologize. But I want to get back to, how to implement this into your particular sales process. So number one, like, these questions I'm talking about are closed-ended. Okay. Start with closed-ended questions. Number two, what's missing for them? Okay. What's the problem that's going on versus the solution that they're looking to solve? Okay. So why is what they're doing right now not working? These are all questions that I always wind up asking on calls. What's missing for you? Why is what you're doing right now not working? What is working? Okay. And the third piece is, can you get them to see that they have created a solution, right? So ask them a question like, so if you were, if your income, in a financial advisory's case, if I helped you grow your income, let's say from 500,000 to $1 million in the span of 5 years, what would that do for you? Right? What would that do for you? Not income, but your assets. What would that do for you? That's a solution-based question. But to follow up the solution, right? You want to ask, are they ready for that? Are they committed to that? Are they ready to take action on said solution? So these 3 key points that I'm talking about were exactly what we implemented into my client's sales and business process. And this is what awarded her those high net worth clients, because those high net worth clients started to see, wow, she can help identify my gap. She can see what is keeping me from what I want. And I've talked to other advisors and they just want to take my money. So again, asking these, in my opinion, emotional based questions to see, where is this client right now? What are they looking forward to do with the rest of their money, the rest of their life, their retirement, their assets? And how can you be the solution to their problem? Right? So that's it, man. I mean, I cannot stress it enough that sales is the foundation. And once you start shifting your emotional belief to literally believe that your stories, your limiting beliefs, are the things that are holding you back from the income that you want, And, you know, you can take back your time. You can make more money while working less. This is all allowed. You're in the way. And this is exactly what I teach. I marry emotional intelligence and emotional strategy with business strategy and sales strategy. And they make love, they have a baby, and they call it the permission process. So it's about giving oneself permission to make sales easy and make the income that you want because you deserve it. And so did this client who has 2 small children at home, starting this firm, not knowing if it was going to work out. And guess what? It did. And guess what? Rolling in the dough. Husband's happy, she's happy, all is well. Now, not to say that we don't have dips, right? So if you're having issues right now when you're trying to sell and your emotions are bleeding into sales conversations, or when you're selling, you don't know how to communicate what it is that you're offering, or maybe you're getting caught up in the objections. Maybe you're not even getting objections and people are just saying, hey, no, or I'll get back to you, and then they never do, and you're not following up. This is all of the things that I teach and I will die on the hill for, because these are important. And it is costing you money not to follow up. It is costing you tens of thousands of dollars not to fix your sales process and implement something that's new, that's lining up and ideal for your sophisticated buyers who are out there in the marketplace wanting to throw money at you, but you're not standing out because you sound like everybody else when you're on a sales call with them. So if this is you and you're listening, whether it's live or the replay, I highly suggest booking a call, seeing how we can possibly work through some of this stuff on the sales call, taking a look at your actual sales process, what's going on behind the scenes. Are you closing? Are you converting? Are you not? And if you're not, why? Like, what's truly going on here? Because quite frankly, you know, your business, your financial business deserves to make the money that you want. And I want to help you do that. And there's several ways that I can help you do that, whether it be one-to-one, whether it be in the mastermind, could be the fact that we pop on to an actual, you know, complimentary call and figure it out from there. And if I'm not the person, I will help find you the person that will help you get to where you want to go. So that's what I've got for you today. It was more of an emotional conversation because I think every once in a while to throw those in for you is really important. And then the questions that are missing from your sales process, which are also really important to start implementing. If you have questions, comments, please drop them below. And I look forward to speaking with you and hearing from you soon. Thank you so much. Thank you for being part of Unsuck Your Sales.